In an ever-evolving digital landscape, for your business to thrive, you must adapt or die. Welcome to Marketing in the Age of AI, the podcast helping you harness the power of AI and marketing tools to revitalize and grow your business. And now here's your host, marketing expert and author of Authentic Marketing in the Age of AI, Emanuel Rose.
Welcome to this episode of Marketing in the Age of AI. Today, we're going to have a conversation about search and search engine optimization and the changing dynamics of search, and maybe even get into generative engine optimization. I don't know. But my guest today is Vikas Sehgal. He's a technologist, an entrepreneur, an advisor to, and an angel investor in several early stage tech startups. And he's currently the founder and CEO of HyperDart, a next-gen search engine powered by AI and expert knowledge creators and curators. Vikas, thanks for spending some time with me this morning.
Well, thanks for having me on the show, Emanuel.
It is my pleasure. I'm excited to dig into this because one of the things that's happened over the last 2.5 years is that Google has lost the stranglehold on search.
That's absolutely right. I think a lot is changing in the search ecosystem. I think there are newer players that are coming up, trying to apply not just web crawl technologies, but also AI and also human intelligence. Integrating all of that into search. So yes, search is finally a very dynamic landscape once again after 20 years.
Amazing. I never had pictured what was going to dislodge Google, but there's a product cycle in everything, and finally AI has displaced that stranglehold.
Absolutely right. I think, and those product cycles, they do last decades, 20 years or so in this particular case. But, there's always, the next thing, better thing that can improve the user's experience, bring in more players into that ecosystem, and that's what's happening with search today.
So, in my impression as a marketer and as a user of these generative engines, I've kind of landed on Perplexity when I'm doing either shopping research, and they talk about that, they're a shopping engine, but also I like it for high level business research because of the linking, and I get to go and validate the sources and minimize what seems to be hallucinations from the GPT. How does HyperDart compare, or where are you in the landscape, say, of Perplexity?
Right. So if we disintermediate both of these two things, so there are the foundational model providers, the OpenAI, the Geminis of the world, the Anthropics of the world, that are building those foundational models. And then there are applications of those foundational models. And I would even say that search is an application of AI or these foundational models. So if you think of the foundational models, they are more of language and reasoning to begin with in their purest form. And then you can then train or give them more context to provide intelligent answers for specific topics, whether it is generating a story or finding some factual information. So what the Perplexities of the world are essentially doing is providing it the right context so that these reasoning models have an authoritative source to produce an answer. And HyperDart actually also plays in a very similar space. So we also use these generative AI, the foundational models. We try to provide them the most authoritative context so that they can produce answers that are, grounded in reality rather than something that, a model just, hallucinated or produced. Now, when you talk about authoritative sources, now they can be plugged in a lot of different ways. Some of it is just providing it a page that you can scrape and try to generate an answer based off of that. But the other ways of doing that would be to even plug in the data programmatically, and that is what HyperDart is doing, is providing a framework where these data providers can actually plug in their data sources programmatically so that you can produce answers that may not even just be text-based answers. They can be graphs and charts, they can be tabular, they can be more graphical even. So in order to produce that, you can't just be relying on scraping web pages and trying to regurgitate those answers. You actually require these authoritative data sources to plug in programmatically, and that's what we're building at HyperDart.
Interesting. So I guess as a brand builder and brand manager, what is authoritative data source? Is that just the harvard.edu, or can it actually be a private company?
So it is. So I would say that a lot of the data sources are the large data set providers that you've probably heard of, but it could also be individual experts. So we cater to both ends of the spectrum. The large providers, we provide them a platform where they can plug in programmatically, they can bring in their entire data sets, they can produce these intelligent answer cards within search. For the individual experts, we provide them more templatized answer cards that they can just fill in with their content, and it could even be just one-off information that they can plug in. And then we've also built an ecosystem of creator tools around it that help these knowledge creators bring in snippets of knowledge. They could even be from their blogs or from other sources that they or from other avenues where they create this information. They can import that and produce these answer cards. So we make it really easy for knowledge creators to plug in. Now, some of the building that credibility or thought leadership would be similar to what you would do on other social platforms, for example. So it could be, how many other knowledge creators or other authoritative providers are actually liking or following your content. So we're melding in these some of these features from the social world into search, and that has never been done before.
Yeah, that's interesting. Well, I've two that triggers kind of two questions for me. One is general and one's self-serving. So where are you finding that you're getting people who are searching on HyperDart right now? What's kind of your target for that?
So it is a generic search engine. So our target audience is regular consumers. But the big difference is that behind the scenes, it is a lot of B2B integration. So in a way, it is a B2B2C model. So we have a lot of B2B relationships. That is where we source a lot of knowledge and content. But on the actual user side, it is regular consumers. Now, in our ecosystem, what we have realized is that most of the publishers and the knowledge creators in the traditional search ecosystem, they tend to only expose a limited amount of information, so they get indexed by the web crawlers, because finally the ultimate goal of these publishers is to bring the audience to their site, to get the click to their site so that they can then monetize their content, either by showing ads or by putting a paywall or some such mechanism. Um, but in that entire ecosystem, if you think about users looking for information and these providers that have the information, and the search engine is typically a black box that is sitting in the middle,
Right.
directing the traffic or providing snippets of information, these days providing AI summaries, and then you click through to the actual publisher. In a lot of cases, with AI answers, the clicks actually reduce to these publishers. So they actually suffer in this entire ecosystem. In the traditional ecosystem, also, a lot of the value is taken out by the search engine. Most of the ad dollars are taken up by, and the publishers are essentially doing SEO, SEM, trying to get the clicks to their site, and then trying to monetize and run an arbitrage.
Yeah.
In our system, we actually want these publishers to bring in their knowledge into the search ecosystem and to be able to monetize it within search. So, as you know, search is easy to monetize, has very high monetization rates, but most of those that monetization is kept by the search engine itself.
I mean,
So,
it's been constant, right, from Google. Every time there's a way that somebody's making money, like say for just a mortgage calculator, then Google will integrate that and no longer distribute those searchers to anybody else.
right, and they've done that for example, for local business search. They've done that for travel. They've done that for a number of categories. And they, I mean, they have. Uh, I don't know if we can call it a monopoly, but it is a monopoly.
Sure. I think
That
so.
is where the user comes first, and if there is an area that they can find lucrative, they can build their own product around it and push everybody else down.
Yeah.
Um, in our ecosystem, we're building it like a platform where different providers can plug in, and they can monetize their content. So we take a cut of the ad revenue, but we pass along a lot of the revenue to the actual provider, so that they are incented to bring the best knowledge and content and share it on the search platform in an intelligent way. So it's a mind shift that search is not this algorithmic black box that is directing traffic. Nobody knows, how those results or rankings are produced, and they take a big chunk of the ad revenue, versus a platform where knowledge creators are actually sharing information and be able to monetize and share revenue from that search ecosystem. So it's a total shift in not just how search results are produced, but also how the business of search is run.
Yeah, that's interesting. So, how does that work? Is it built for somebody as small as me, where I've just got a few books and a podcast, and I build content for you, or does it have to be somebody much larger, like Johns Hopkins University?
No, it can be for smaller creators as well. So for example, somebody who writes, say, uh, a product review blog, right? Maybe you're an expert at reviewing electronic products, and you write a blog, or you write for one of the publications. Now you review, say, Wi-Fi routers, and you write a blog, or you create a YouTube video out of it. So you can use a HyperDart creator tool to now suck in that information and produce an answer card if somebody is searching for like best Wi-Fi routers, right? And it'll appear under your name, your logo. People can then like and follow you as an expert, and now from a user's perspective, they have customized their search results. So next time, if I'm searching for Bluetooth headsets, for example, and if you've written a review or you've produced an answer card for your recommendations, that'll show up in my search results. So the user is allowed to customize, what individuals or experts they trust and like, and they will see more recommendations from that. And recommendations is just one sliver of the type of search queries. There are, experts can produce different types of answer cards and publish them within search. So it could be how-to guides, it could be learning pathways, it could be, a whole. So we have created tools for a lot of these types of knowledge content that knowledge creators can use in public. So those are more for the small creators, for the individuals.
Yeah.
The larger ones, they can plug in programmatically, and they have a lot more control in terms of what knowledge they share, what kind of queries they can answer, what format those results would be presented in.
Interesting. How are you? How are you capturing the consumers to HyperDart? How are they finding you?
Yeah.
What's your
So
marketing like?
so that's I've now worked in the search space for a good number of years, and what I've realized is that search is obviously a big technical challenge, but it is also a big distribution challenge,
Mhm.
and that is one of the reasons why search is a very difficult space to crack into, is because of distribution. A lot of avenues have been cornered by the bigger players in terms of the browsers, the mobile operating systems, and all of that, where Google already has very strong relationships to be a default search.
Sure.
Cracking into the search market is a big distribution challenge as well. And our go-to-market, of course, we're doing all the traditional things to get the word out, but we're, our go-to-market is also revolves around the partners who are in the search ecosystem. Since it's more of a partnership model where we're saying the HyperDart provides the platform, and then these individual experts or knowledge creators, they can provide depth of knowledge within specific verticals. So it almost becomes a search engine that they own or they can own their own sliver. So
Right.
there could be a few providers that are providing finance data, travel data, health related data. So it almost becomes a co-op of different vertical providers under one search umbrella, and our go-to-market is through this channel. That it is in their interest to for the searches to happen within this co-op, rather than a search happening on a Google, for example, where they have much lesser control of or even visibility.
Yeah.
So I think just because this our business model is designed around revenue share, and we're also trying to promote it more like a co-op with our ecosystem partners.
So yeah, if I interpreted it, sounds like you're working on joint ventures, and you're leveraging everybody's user base in order to get new users.
Yes, in a way, yes. I mean, technically, these are not joint ventures. You can call it more like partnerships.
Yeah.
But yes.
And so let's see. The biggest value to a consumer, can you just lay that out of what HyperDart's doing that's different than
Sure.
the traditional search engine?
Sure. So for the user, I mean, so as I mentioned, you know the the knowledge is out there, right? And there are experts who create this knowledge, curate it, and help users make sense of it. The search engine is essentially directing users to those actual providers. Now, traditionally, the providers did not have an incentive to share all of their knowledge, because they want to share a little bit of the knowledge with the web crawler or with the search engine so that they appear in the search results, but they don't want to share their crown jewels, right? They
Right.
want to keep those.
Yeah.
And hence the user experience used to be, oh, you see links and small snippets. These days you might see some AI summaries. But in a lot of cases, the depth of knowledge is still shielded. And our goal is to bring that into the search result page itself so that you get more authoritative, more in depth information that is not just text based, is more graphical. You can
Yep.
slice and dice information. It's almost like an app with search.
Nice.
So that's our goal. And what is it in it for the user? Their search experience should be a lot better than what it is today, and definitely what it was in the just in the web crawl days. But even in the age of AI, I think the user experience can be significantly better if we can get more knowledge and more authoritative knowledge, in-depth knowledge into the search platform. So what the user gets out of it is, more in-depth information, more non-text based answers that they can interact with, but also giving users the power to customize their own search experience.
Mhm.
They can upvote, like, follow certain providers that they like and trust more, and see more of their content within search results. So if I prefer one travel provider, for example, and I'm looking for a travel deal, they can prioritize that content over over another.
Yeah.
So the user gets the power to customize their search experience like they could not do before, and they should see more in-depth and non-text based answers within their search experience.
Love it. It sounds like a way fuller return of results, and then also where you're returning some of the discretion of where the information comes from back to the person who's searching.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, it sounds interesting. How long have you guys been at this, Vikas?
About 5 years now.
All right, and
Hmm.
then what sort of adoption rate are you seeing, and what's the growth pattern looking like for you right now?
Yeah, so we've gone through a few iterations. Of course, the whole Gen AI has changed the landscape. So
Yeah.
we've redesigned our products around that. So we have a growing user base, very passionate user base who's so it's been in closed beta for the last few months. We've just opened it up, and a lot of it is, as I mentioned, through our B2B partnerships. We are taking this to market. So still early days in terms of how we are able to corner this market.
And then let's see. So right now, it looks like you can interact with it like you would any search engine or any GPT.
Hmm.
The adding the Chrome uh, the Chrome tag. What does that do versus just interacting with it as a
So
browser?
So adding the browser extension will make HyperDart your default search. So it's just an easy way of
Uh-huh.
making it a default search. But what it also does is, so number one, we provide an easy way to switch between search engines, which is typically not easy to do. Most
Yeah.
people don't know that you can go into the settings and change.
You're always getting hijacked. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yahoo always wants to hijack you.
So we make it super easy. Even on the HyperDart page, you can switch to Google, and so you can even on a per query basis, you can try different search engines, Google, Bing, DuckDuckGo, or HyperDart. So that's one. But the browser extension also allows you also gives you access to some of the creator tools. So experts can use the creator tools to actually create and publish content. We also provide a lot of other AI helper tools as you search and browse the internet. So, for example, you're on a page and you just want to summarize it, or instead of just doing a Control F to do a search on the page, you can ask a question and it'll use AI to produce an answer from that specific page. There are you find some useful information on the internet. You can just highlight it and tag it and either keep it as a personal snippet of information, or you can also publish it for others to find. So there are a number of tools that we provide through our browser extension that can help you, navigate the web, find information more easily, but also to be able to share some of that knowledge with others that others can find when when they're searching.
I love
And sometimes that becomes an issue. Sometimes you look at web content and you don't know what to trust. But imagine if you were looking for a health topic and you found and some authoritative doctor who had highlighted and published with their note.
Yeah.
You immediately know that there is a credible source behind it. So we make it really easy for users to not only uh, bookmark and save information for their own use, but also to be able to share that information. And then if you're a creator, you can pick from one of the templates, like I mentioned, learning pathways or recommendations or things like that, and you can publish that into search as well.
I love how you're building this very interactive and customizable intellectual space
Yeah.
for people. So kudos for that. My last question, then I'll let you get on with your day, and I really appreciate you taking this time with me. What is on the roadmap coming out of beta and unrestricted use by the rest of us? What do you got going on for the next few months?
I mean, we have a lot. We're just firing on all cylinders right now. A lot of it was engineering focused. The last several months, but as we are switching gears to more outbound marketing and user acquisition, so a lot of it is around our go-to-market strategy, around signing up more partnerships, building a developer ecosystem. So we're also doing a lot of evangelizing, for developers to come in and build integrations directly into search. So I would say, our traditional building the platform out, that's one stream that's going on. There is this whole marketing and outbound. There is the partnerships with large authoritative data sources, but then also building and evangelizing with the developer community to to build. And there are dozens of integrations that exist today, but we're always looking for more. So there's just a lot going on right now with all these streams running.
Yeah, you're building a business on a lot of fronts. So
yeah.
Well, congratulations for getting to this spot, and I'm looking forward to getting in there, using it on the consumer side, and then maybe I'll bite off the creator side, then reach out to you for a little help if I need it.
Wonderful. Absolutely, Emanuel.
Well, Vikas, I know it's HyperDart.com, right?
Yes.
And then and you're on LinkedIn, and people are able to
Yeah,
catch up with you there.
just search for my name and put HyperDart, and you'll find me.
All right. Well, I'm really grateful for your time this morning. Thanks for going through this with me.
Well, likewise, it was a pleasure, Emanuel. Thank you for having me on the show.
Okay, you bet. You have a great day.
Take care. Bye.
Thanks. You got a chance to reimagine search with HyperDart and to find things, interact with subject matter experts, and know that you're feeding content creators instead of the Google beast. Hope you enjoyed this episode of Marketing in the Age of AI. I hope that you spent some time today tracking down some new tools, maybe new search engine called HyperDart. And I hope that you discover a way for AI to save you some time from mundane tasks or roadblocks in your business life, so that you can spend more time with your friends, your family, and you can get outside and enjoy some sunshine or whatever the weather is in your life. It's Emanuel Rose, Marketing in the Age of AI.
Thanks for listening to Marketing in the Age of AI. Be sure to subscribe wherever you heard this podcast so you never miss a future episode. Your copy of Authentic Marketing in the Age of AI is available at Amazon.com or EmanuelRose.com. You can also connect with Emanuel on LinkedIn. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next time.